Your dad is critical in your formative years from 12 to 18 years old. Fatherless homes create awful women. They create awful people in general. You know, dads keep daughters off stripper poles and sons out of jail. Dad is supposed to be the first line of defense to keep the government from fucking you up. And what I mean by that is that if your dad isn't there, then you become a product of your environment. You become a drug dealer, you become a criminal, whatever it is, because you don't have that first barrier of defense where your dad could find the drugs in your backpack and be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Smack the shit out of you before the cops catch you, and then bam, now you got a felony conviction. Or the dad used to be a critical part of the mating process, right? Where he would vet the man that comes to take her out on prom, or he would vet the man that she was dating to ensure that he wasn't going to be a piece of shit that leaves her. And more importantly, women are awful at selecting their own mates. The father is the best at selecting the mate. There's a reason why arranged marriages work so much. When you leave a woman to her own devices to pick her mate, she's going to go off of emotional adrenaline. She's going to want the bad boy. She's going to want the tall guy that looks good. The guy that pretty much is going to be unemotionally available and that's going to have sex with her and then not take her seriously. The father is going to be able to find a man that, fuck your emotions, bitch. I'm going to find you the best guy that's going to provide you security long term, that's going to give you a child and protect and provision for you long term, so that when you're 35 years old, you don't look back and say, damn, I fucked up and wasted my youth, like a lot of women do. That's why the father is so important, because the father is able to objectively look at the mate without emotional stimulation. This is a good man. Yes, he's boring. Yes, he's not the Chad or whatever it is, but this man is going to give you the long-term security, and you'll come back at 35 years old and say, thank you, Dad. You helped me out. When you leave a woman to her own device, what does she do? Well, you guys see it right now. Single mother households, right? That continues to perpetuate the problem. And then the mother is not equipped to discipline the children. The father is the first line of defense, like I said before, he's a disciplinarian. The mother is there to nurture. Single fathers actually create far more productive children than single mothers do. Your dad is critical in your formative years from 12 to 18 years old, when you're skipping school, hooky, high school, which is critical to, you becoming an adult. Your dad is there to protect you from yourself. So it doesn't just go for women. I say, women left to their own devices are self-destructive. Children in general, boys and girls. But with women, there's far worse consequences when women fuck up. Because now you have a kid. Now you have a burden on society. Now you're a single mother. Now you have to raise this kid. Now you're going to raise another delinquent. That's going to cause more issues on society. You're going to tax society even further. One of the biggest things that people don't know, read the book Freakonomics. One of the biggest reasons that the crime rate dropped significantly was because of abortion. Not because police presence or any of that other shit, it was abortion. Why? Because you have a bunch of mothers that were not equipped to handle children that suddenly aborted the children, and then bang, crime rates drop. Because single mothers are perfect at creating felons. You look at criminals, you look at sexual degenerates, you look at alcoholics, you look at degenerates in society in general. They come from single mother households. Fatherless households are a big culprit as to why Western society is failing. Men aren't respected anymore. Dads aren't around. We just acknowledge reality. But the guy that pretty much is going to be unemotionally available and that's going to have sex with her and then not take her seriously. Dads keep daughters off stripper poles. Dads keep daughters off. Dads keep mothers that were not equipped to handle children. When you leave a woman to her own devices to pick her mate, she's going to go off of, yes, he's not the Chad or whatever it is. You look at degenerates in society in general. They come from single mother households.
I'm going to tell you how I'm going to raise all my kids. I'm going to tell them the truth of the world. Use OnlyFans, for example. Okay, baby, you're thinking about doing OnlyFans. Let me just tell you what that means in regards to your ability to garner the kind of man you're looking for. Because remember, they have to replace me. Outside of talking shit to my girls, I'm going to be like, listen, you're going to want to have a man you respect. And it's very unlikely that the man that you're looking for, just by the laws of hypergamy, will put up with you having an OnlyFans account. You can do what you want. I'm going to love you anyway. I don't like it. I'm going to tell you that I hate it. I'm not going to disown you. I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to hurt you in regards to having a family if that's what you want. So all I want to do is educate my kids on the world and what they can expect from their choices. give them the tools, which is the filling part we were talking about earlier. I think the fulfilling part for me is going to be developing them into their own people so they can be independent. Just like anybody else, I don't want my daughter with a man she doesn't love or doing something that she does not want to do because she doesn't have the skill set to take care of herself. It's not because I want her to be an independent bad bitch. It's just because I want her to live her life with the final thing I want to teach my children, which is choice. Here is how the world works. Here are the tools you need to live on your own terms in hopes that you get choice. I love you regardless. If I come to her with this judgmental frame, her ears are going to close and she's not going to be able to hear me. I need her to trust me as her father. And I need her to trust that I'm going to love her regardless. So that way she'll tell me the truth so we can talk through it and have a real conversation.
Every single action that men have done, women don't value that for which they don't work for. And when it comes to relationships and dealing with men, since so many men are willing to give away their hard-earned money to women that haven't earned it, a lot of women don't respect the majority of men. It's evident by the dating market that we have right now. Girls flake on dates, girls don't text back, girls have an abundance of options. A lot of girls see average men as below them. Let's just keep it a stack. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. If you ask an average girl what she wants, she's gonna describe to you an above average man. Even a woman that's average herself is going to describe to you an above average man. And if you tell her, hey, listen, do you realize that this man that you're describing is above average? You know, a lot of women don't even know. And an average man makes about $45,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? And most girls would not settle for that. So I say all that to set the premise that since most women don't respect a majority of men, and that's the unfortunate reality of the society we live in now with Instagram and what I call globalized sexual marketplace, right? Which, you know, G's obviously benefited from. Guys fly in, hang out with her, but she has access now. And I don't mean to pick on you, but like a lot of women experience this, right? Where you're able to access men that you otherwise would have never been able to access, right? That are higher status. And what happens is men that were suitable candidates in your immediate geographic area are now invisible to you. Yeah. So women have this, I would say, almost abundance mentality, almost to a point of delusion where an average woman demands an above average man. And since women have this mindset, modern day women, you can't roll out the red carpet and treat her like a princess in the beginning because you're going to be like every other idiot. So you actually have to kind of go against the grain and not be a gentleman. 50 years ago, 60 years ago, before the advent of the internet and conventional apps, it was okay to be a traditional man and do these types of things, right? It was seen as cute, traditional. You were a gentleman. Women appreciated that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, little things like opening the car door for her, letting her get in, you calling her. She would be happy when you would call her. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine, oh yeah, we're going to set up a phone date at this time. She'd write her phone number on a little piece of paper and give it to you. You guys write letters to each other. I'm old enough to remember this to some degree. Yeah. But that's done now. Chivalry is dead and women have killed it. Like, murdered it. Absolutely murdered it. You know what's funny? I asked you guys about a guy when he did something that was... And all of you described something that 50 years ago would be considered extremely traditional and chivalrous. Showing up at your house unannounced, calling your mom trying to get a date, lending you his car. These would all be considered extremely chivalrous and gentleman acts that women would have appreciated more 100 years prior. Now, am I going to knock you guys and say, you guys are unappreciative, ungrateful bees? No, you guys have just adapted to the marketplace. It's abundant now. Men do this stupid shit all the time. You can't use a steak knife in a gunfight. You know what I'm saying? When you become a gentleman and you try to date girls, modern day women, you're essentially bringing a steak knife into a fucking machine gun fight. And you're not going to be prepared. You're going to get destroyed every single time because the game has changed. You have to adapt with the situation. So the reason why I frown upon men that spend exorbitant amounts of money, time, resources, or show too much chivalry in the beginning to women is because I know that modern day women, on a balance of probabilities, are not going to appreciate and respect it, and if anything, are going to punish you for it. So guys need to move with intelligence to understand that the dating landscape has changed, and you can't play 2021 dating with 1950s rules.
Also, being too nice, right? Girls will never say it, but the mentality is, okay, he's too nice. What does he want from me? And it's funny because, like, yeah, obviously you don't want to be a complete a-hole to a certain degree, but you don't want to be too nice, because if you're too nice, it's like, yo, why is he so nice to me? What's the angle here? Versus, hey, you know what? This is who I am. Take it or leave it. That approach is way better than being too nice. So
being too nice nowadays is seen as disingenuous. You have ulterior motives. It's not looked at as genuine. So to go against the grain and get girls, you almost have to be a jerk. Go ahead. Sorry.
That comes from the men, though. Sure. Guys would say and do anything just to get what they want. Yeah. We've adapted in that sense where if a guy is sometimes a little too nice, we're gonna question that. That part comes from y'all.
Okay, so I will say this. Every single action that men have done has been an adaptation to women. I'll give you an example. Who chooses who has sex, men or women?
Women.
Okay. So therefore you hold the leverage in who gets sexual access. So in order for a man to get sex, he's got to pursue you, correct? So therefore, since you hold the cards, they have to react to the changing times and adapt and then move on, right? So what has happened? Well, men lie a lot more. They manipulate. They say stupid shit to get laid. They say anything to get laid. But on the other hand, who holds the leverage when it comes to marriage?
Men.
Okay, so women have to adapt and switch if they want to get a ring. So the person who holds the commodity is in charge of the other gender's movements to get said commodity. So I get what you're saying. Men do all this bullshit, but I argue that they do this bullshit to react and adapt to get sexual access from women. Women's preferences change, which means now men have to adapt or die. Men are deductive problem solvers. That's the way the world has been built. That's why we have nice cameras, TVs, buildings, all this other stuff. Men built the world. And men built the world through that intrinsic need to discover, to adapt, and to overcome. There is a serious reproductive problem that a lot of guys are dealing with. Only a small minority of men are having sex with all the women. Well, why is that? Well, because women are more selective now than ever before. They have abundance of options. A guy that would have been a good candidate that was your next door neighbor, he's done. He's getting beat out by the guy from Dubai that's coming to CG. You know what I'm saying? To go against the grain and get girls, you almost have to be a jerk. Go ahead. Sorry. Who holds the leverage when it comes to marriage? Men lie a lot more. They manipulate. They say stupid shit to get laid. Roll out the red carpet and treat her like a princess in the beginning because you're going to be like every other idiot. So you actually have to kind of go against the grain. Women have killed it. Like murdered it. Absolutely murdered it. Women have killed it. Like murdered it. Absolutely. Women have killed it. Like murdered. A guy that would have been a good candidate that was your next door neighbor, he's done. He's getting beat out by the guy from Dubai that's coming to CG. You know what I'm saying?